Fight back moment, arms depot, in Russia hit by Ukrainian missile sparking firework-like explosions. This is the moment a suspected arms depot was allegedly hit by a Ukrainian missile, sparking firework-like explosions. The huge blast took place in Belgorod, western Russia, just 12 miles from the Russia-Ukraine border, near the village of Krasny Oktyabr. The aftermath of the missile strike could be seen from Ukraine last night. Yuri Butasov, a Ukrainian journalist, claimed the depot was hit by an OTR-21 Tochka-U ballistic missile fired by the Ukrainian 19th Missile Brigade. This has not yet been confirmed by Ukrainian officials. If verified, it will be the second Ukrainian strike on Russian territory since the start of the war after the Milarovo airbase was attacked in late February. Vyacheslav Gladkov, the governor of Belgorod, confirmed there had been an explosion and added no Russian civilians had been injured. He refused to shed any light on the reason for the explosion. Gladkov said, explosions were heard on the territory of Belgorod and the Belgorod region. The incident took place near the village of Krasny Oktyabr. The head of the village is in direct contact with me and has given me all the information. There are no casualties or injuries among the residents. I'll post the reason for this later. Russian news agency TASS reported 4 servicemen were injured when a projectile exploded in a military encampment. The report added, initial data indicates that the projectile was launched from the Ukrainian territory. An emergency services source told the agency, a projectile fell on the territory of a military encampment in the Belgorod region. 4 servicemen were injured. The blasts came after Russia said it would start drastically reducing troops from Kyiv and Chernihiv. The announcement was made by the Deputy Defense Minister Alexander Fomin and comes as a fresh round of peace negotiations get underway in Istanbul. Moscow had decided to cut back military activity in the direction of Kyiv and Chernihiv to increase mutual trust and create conditions for further negotiations, he said. But the Ukrainian retaking of the town of Irpin near Kyiv shows Russian forces are on the back foot. Negotiations are expected to resume on Wednesday, after weeks of fighting which has left thousands dead and nearly 4 million Ukrainians have fled their country. Meanwhile, Fomin's superior Sergei Shoigu said Russian forces would now focus on the liberation of the eastern Donbass region, indicating a major shift in tactics after Russian forces met with stern resistance. The Russian announcement was nonetheless greeted with skepticism by some in the Ukrainian leadership. These statements are absolute lies intended to win time for strengthening Russian positions, tweeted government advisor Anton Gerashenko. And Britain's Defense Secretary Ben Wallace said of the Russians, they must think that we were born yesterday. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that Russian President Vladimir Putin could still seek to twist the knife as the war moves into a new phase. In recent days Ukraine said its troops had pushed Russian forces back from Irpin, near Kyiv. The Ukrainians managed to reoccupy towns and defensive positions up to 21 miles east of the capital. Despite the victories, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky warned there would still be hard fighting to come. We still have to fight, we have to endure, said Zelensky. This is a ruthless war against our nation, against our people, against our children. Peace. Putin must think we were born yesterday, says Defense Secretary after claim Russian troops will pull out of Kyiv. Vladimir Putin must think we were born yesterday if he thinks Britain believes his troops are pulling out of Kyiv, Defense Secretary Ben Wallace declared last night. The despot's henchman suggested he would fundamentally cut back military movements around the Ukrainian capital to build trust in peace talks. But experts think the discussions in Turkey are just an attempt to save face after his war machine was forced into a humiliating retreat. Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich appeared at the talks yesterday, seen for the first time since it was revealed he had been the victim of a suspected chemical attack. But defense sources last night warned lying Putin's offer to pull back from the north of Ukraine might be a ploy to buy time for his battered forces. Analysts said there were no early signs of movement, and Russian forces that had retreated appeared to be digging into new defensive positions. Meanwhile, Mr. Wallace, speaking from Bardufoss, Norway, as Britain prepared to deploy planes to track Putin's Arctic submarines, told The Sun, "Russia must think we were born yesterday. Putin wants to crush Ukraine. It's what he said. He is having to face the reality that he has been unsuccessful. I think the Russians are looking for an off-ramp, but they're trying to package their position of weakness as a position of strength. Judge Russia on its actions, not words, because there's a big gulf between the two." He confirmed that Britain has donated high-velocity missiles, which are now operational in the battlefield. And following the success of weapons such as the NLAW rocket on Russian armor, he hinted Britain may not look to buy more tanks as they have proved vulnerable. He added, "There are lessons from this war, very big, different lessons about whether we've got our balance of investments in the right place. If you look at Russian armor, over 2,000 have been destroyed in Ukraine. That's a lot of armor taken by handheld weapons systems." The peace talks are being hosted by Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan at Istanbul's Dolmabahce Palace. Chelsea owner Abramovich was seen grinning, but the billionaire, temporarily blinded and left with skin peeling from his face earlier this month, appeared red-eyed. He looked older than his 55 years and, at one point, struggled to adjust headphones delivering translation after taking his seat. His role is believed to be crucial, acting as Putin's middleman. One theory is the poison attack was meant to warn him, and other oligarchs, not to cozy up too much with Ukraine. 2 Ukrainian delegates also suffered the effects of the mystery toxin after meeting in Kiev on March 3. Christo Grozev, Russia investigator with investigative site Bellingcat, told Times Radio, the dosage was not high enough to kill any of the 3. The most likely target would have been Abramovich. He volunteered to play this role of an honest broker, but other oligarchs have declared certain independence from the Kremlin position and criticized the war. So it could well be a warning sign to them to not join the ranks of those who dissent, and to not be too much of an honest broker. Fears of further poisoning led Ukrainian officials at yesterday's talks to warn their delegates not to eat, drink or even touch anything. All were given bottled water in glasses covered by paper lids, and there were no handshakes before meetings began. Britain is planning a donor conference at the end of the week to get more weapons for Ukraine. However, if peace talks do progress, they could open the door for a face-to-face summit between Putin and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. He has told his team to propose Swiss-style neutrality, and a pledge not to join NATO, in return for security guarantees. The proposals would also include a 15-year consultation period on the status of annexed Crimea, but could not come into force until a complete ceasefire is confirmed. Ukraine is further insisting that Russian troops withdraw to their positions before the February 24 invasion. But Putin is still thought to be determined to grab the besieged port city of Mariupol to seize a land corridor between Donbass and Crimea. He would then battle to hold on to the stolen territory in peace talks. Last night, Ukrainians greeted news of a retreat with distrust, as Putin's forces continued to pound the south and east, including Mariupol itself. A soldier recorded on the Black Sea's Snake Island telling Putin's invaders, Russian warship, Go F*** yourself, has been released by his captors. Ukraine's defense ministry declared, Roman Hrybov returned to Cherkasy region. Glory to the hero.